Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Cosmoteer. In the previous episode we built a second ship and I think at this point we're almost ready to go into the veteran sectors. We're definitely good enough for the professional sectors at this point. Nothing that those sectors throw at us has any chance of doing anything more than superficial damage to either of these ships at this stage. Well, maybe this one would struggle because it's only got the two massive cannons at the moment and no sort of backup weaponry. But we've been earning some money, got a little bit more to work with, so we'll do some more work on these. And then we're going to try the veteran sectors and see just how difficult or indeed easy they are. Also, last episode I asked you to suggest names for the two ships. Now that we have two of them, we do need some way of differentiating them. And there were a few different kinds. And in the end, I didn't quite go for exactly what was suggested, but someone had an idea which I sort of trimmed down a bit. And the ships are now known as the Mace and the Spear. I thought that was quite a nice way of doing it. They had like extra words, but I thought I'd keep it nice and short, just like a single word weapon style thing. And I think it makes sense. This is a big, long, pointy spear, kind of stabby, piercy weapon, whereas this one just batters you with everything all at once and causes massive general trauma, whereas this one is more sort of stabbing at certain vital areas, that sort of thing. So I think that works. And let's do a bit of modification. We're going to start with the mace. Mainly, I want to add some more reverse engines, because that's the problem we've been having with this guy, that he keeps smashing into the enemy, which is maybe slightly closer than we want him to be. So I'm going to, for the moment, just add some more large thrusters on the end here, and it looks a bit silly. It's getting crazy wide. This was not the plan, and it's right on the edge of what the shields cover, but the shields do cover it, so should be okay. We'll add a little bit of armor on the outside just for some defense, same stuff as we had before, basically. Just to help kind of shield things a little bit on the sides. I've realized at the moment we are not in blueprint mode. I must have accidentally turned that off. But either way, that's that. Though these things are now really far back. Let's bring them out by one. And then we could put something there. There's nothing we particularly need though. Crew is fine. Power is fine. So maybe I'll just leave that for the moment until I think of something better for it. I don't know. I don't want to spend all the money working on this. I just want to add these in so that the thing can actually slow down a little bit better than it currently can. And apart from that, it's working fairly well. The missile stuff is as good as we want it to be. And the rest of the weaponry is enough, I think. Maybe we could do with a little bit more in the way of energy stuff, as well as the cannons, but I think that's all fine. Alright, let's finish that. And then we'll hop over to the spear. And we will make some larger scale changes to this one. So I want to add in the extra cannons if I can. So let's see how much that's going to cost. Also, we'll remember to go to blueprint mode. There we go. So it's going to be a lot of our money all at once straight away. Though not as much as I was expecting. Oh, of course, we get a lot of it back because there were some crew quarters there and crew were expensive, so it seemed like it was cheap, but we're going to have to replace those crew, and that will be expensive again. But yeah, we'll have the storage here, so each one will have a dedicated storage for it, and then each storage will have a reactor for it. Then we'll probably want some secondary reactors to power all this gubbins up here. Really, you'd probably need more than one reactor, I'll admit, but one step at a time, I suppose. So we'll fill this in with corridor. We'll get rid of that for the moment. And where exactly to have the extra reactor? Could stick it right on the side here, but that's a little bit dangerous. I'd like it further back if I can get away with that. Here, I think, works. And eventually there's going to be a proper corridor running up here instead of the little one we have at the moment. So we will just be able to come straight out the front of the reactor room and walk up to there. For the moment, though, they can't. Also, we'll need to move our engines out a bit more because I'm not having a reactor completely exposed on the side of the ship. That is a recipe for destruction and doom, so we'll have plenty of heavy armor on the side here. And then also I'm going to give this guy some more reverse thrusters as well, because we need them. There we go. Looks a bit silly. And also these things now have no chance of hitting anything, so they need moving. I think we'll just have to have the ship widen at the back a little bit to fit these reverse thrusters in. Or we can start to implement that plan I had before about having everything a little bit weirdly positioned. It's possible. There is something we could do. If we just scrap all this stuff for the moment. And this as well. And all of this as well. And then we try putting a thruster. Now this is possible. Having them here does work, but we'll need to do a bit of messing about with the other thrusters to be able to fit things in properly. So we'll move these out. And that allows us to put doors here into these thrusters, and people can actually get to them from the power stuff. And then what we can do is just encase the entire thing in armor. And it looks a bit silly, but it keeps them protected, and we don't have to have a super wide ship to be able to fit all the things that we want on the sides of it. So that works pretty well. So we'll fill this in here. Have it curve around nicely. Works fairly nice. Actually, we will have slightly more armor sticking out. I like to have the armor slightly encasing the engines, have them set in a bit so it's a little bit harder to damage them. Actually, this needs to be wider, looking at it, doesn't it? So that we can actually get people walking down through a corridor section here. So I'll have to move this one out to there and do a little bit of rethinking. We're getting towards the end of our available funds, and we still need a whole bunch of crew. So that's a problem. Let's remove this for now. Put these corridors in. And then a crew. There goes half our remaining money. It's a little bit difficult, and we still need more, really, for things to work properly. We're at least okay in terms of the reactor now. I'd move it down, but that would cost money that we don't have to spare, which is a problem. I'm going to move that door, though. I'm going to put this nestled in there, seeing as that's a space that we currently have available. Let's have a bit of armor stick out the side here. Help to shield things. This needs to move to there, really. I'll have another door here. A couple doors here as well. Also, I will move this down to here. Just want to go straight through, really. I will do this, though, so there's a bit of access between each of the rooms. We want doors directly going into the storage and then into the ion beams. That works nicely. And we want more crew if we can. We can't. I guess we'll just not hire a few of them, and we'll still be pretty good at the end of that. So this is all a bit of a mess at the moment. In fact, we can save a bit of money if we cut things back a little bit, at least for the moment. So we bring these back to where they were before, so we'll get money back for that. What am I doing? Delete all this. Bring this back. Now money's looking absolutely fine again. What I can do is bring this down. Do the same thing as before, but just with one engine for the moment. Bit of armor in the back here. Possibly overkill with the armor, really, but it's just that there's nothing else to put there for the moment, so might as well have some defenses. So these are nicely encased. Oh, we need sideways facing thrusters at the back. I forgot about those. So they can be there, perhaps. Brings us over budget again. What if we start cutting down a bit on armor? Doesn't make a huge difference, really. So we'll just cut down on crew instead. So 1, 2, 3, we'll make it 4. And then we'll put back in this armor. Because looks are extremely important, and I'll be happy that the ship looks nice as it is blown up horrifically. Also, some spare fire extinguishers would be nice. Where to put them that keeps them out of the way? Oh, we can set them into this, can't we? There we go, still a bit of funds left. Some more armor in places might be nice. Yep, we'll defend that. Oh, that was too much. Apparently these particular, I guess the larger armor plates will be the most expensive, I suppose. Power's okay, crew's mostly okay. Engines are okay, weaponry's okay. Overall, not looking too bad. We could do with a little bit more point defense. I think we had some on the side before, and I've now removed that. But we cannot afford that at the moment, so we'll just have to hope that we'll be okay. That's looking okay, I think. Let's make that so. Is there anything else I've missed? Just to be sure before we go on. It's about time we start putting moving walkways in, but I can't really afford them yet, so we'll think about that later on. Why is it 7 crew we're hiring? There we go, I want 8, and we can afford 8, just about, so we'll do that. Make that so. And we'll let people get everything underway. So now our engines are nicely defended, and also they don't have to stick out by miles to be able to work. So if the ship's long enough, you can do loads of stuff like that, and makes things easier. I did forget to do some of the checking doors stuff, but we can't really afford to move any doors around now, so we'll just have to deal with them as they are. The important stuff at the front is good, it's just at the back it's all a bit of a nightmare. For some reason you gotta go through this engine to get to this engine, and to get to the bridge you gotta go out into the corridor and back into the... I mean, that's not a terrible idea, really. Should have had more doors between the reactors, perhaps. Right, well, I think that works. So there we go. The mace and the spear are ready. We're going to try jumping into veteran space and see how we do. So there's some right here. Might as well jump to the nearest stuff. This is Tew Malay. 4 veteran ships. Let us see how it goes. It's interesting. It has all sorts of information about, like, the planet and stuff. It said that the planet was rocky. It's like, that doesn't matter, though. Why is that even here? Is there going to be more stuff in the game later about that sort of thing? That could be neat. Again, these crew are terrible at charging up their FTL drive. They need practice, I think. But off we go. To much more formidable enemies. By the way, I found out, as pointed out in the comments, that you can turn off auto... what do you call it? Auto formations, which is nice, so I have done that. And now they will just happily make their own ways to their targets. So let's try sending them off to the first target. Honestly, though, probably want them in a formation to start with, just so they stay together, because right now staying together is very important. So we'll let them... I don't like how close all these other ships are. I'm hoping that... yeah, this guy's flying away, which is nice. We'll just keep chasing him out into the depths of space, far away from any other threats, please. And yeah, we'll stay in formation for the moment. We want our ships to arrive at the same time, because otherwise could be doom and destruction for all of us. We are now facing much more formidable enemies that probably require the both of us to be involved fighting them. This is the Reckless Warrior. Doesn't look too terrifying, actually. I think we can deal with this okay. 2 missile pods. Is this still only using 1 reactor? The ships in this game are... The auto-generated ones are crazy. They just always seem to be so focused on energy efficiency. But yeah, this is actually quite small. I was thinking it would be a bigger jump from one sector to the next, so perhaps we could have done this earlier. But yeah, we are mincing this guy. Yeah, perhaps I was a little bit too cautious then. That's very nice to see. Bit of repair work to do. Oh, 2,000 in repair work. I don't know. It must have been the missiles doing a bit of damage. Hold on. Stay in formation. Don't go shooting off into the distance, Mace. We forgot to add more engines to the spear. And so it's ending up being massively behind all the time. Right. Now you're close enough that it should be fine. This is the Shogun. This one has 2 reactors. It's also got a beam. A lot of weaponry it's bristling with. What is it doing? Why did it just spin around all of a sudden? Was that a clever dodging technique from the missiles or something? Oh, it's breaking through the shields on the Mace. But just in time, we've knocked out the gun. Still, though, what are you doing? The spear's just sat back here not doing anything. I was wondering why it was taking so long. Get out of the way. We need to work on their teamwork here. They need to be better at this whole flanking thing. There we go. He's like, yeah, I helped. Look, I fired a shot. He's like, oh yeah, really? You definitely did most of the work there. Still, considering, like, the shields went down pretty rapidly, and yet the thing seems to be faring fine. Oh, by the way, let us hire up to our maximum crew. And onwards to the next target. Stay in formation. And very slowly make our way over there. Yeah, when they have to get in formation, you can see it's just a mess, because they drift around constantly, and they only try and move when they are perfectly in formation already, so it takes forever to get anywhere. But here we are. The Crucible. Let us drop out of formation, target it separately, and you get out of the way so the other guy can actually do things. please. What are we looking at here? Cannon, lots of guns on here. This looks like the, there was a ship we were fighting like this before. It had the shield and the cannon and this stuff here, but then it didn't have anything behind this line here, so this is just like a super upgraded version of the thing that I cannot remember the name of. Oh, a lot of missiles. Oh, they're going to hit us in the back. That's painful. Ouch. Bit of damage there. Everything's holding up okay, though. And, yep, it's just completely ignoring the spear, so the spear can happily blast it to pieces from behind. And it's sorted. Took a while to get to the reactors, but everything's okay now. 5,000 in damage, but we're earning a lot of money per kill here, so works out fine in the end. Alright, off you go, guys. It's going to take you a while. Come on, line up. Try and stay if you can. It's like, yeah, if this ship moves at all, upwards or down, then these guys have to readjust and it just all goes wrong. So even in quadruple speed, it takes all eternity to get to where you need to go, which is why I usually don't bother with formations, but I need the ships to arrive at the same time because these guys are a little bit more formidable. Still, though, a lot less dangerous than I was expecting. Here we go. This guy knows what's up with the whole reverse engines thing. This guy's got a lot of guns. This is more sort of what I was expecting. When I saw that first ship, I thought, wow, have I just completely misjudged the entire, like, difficulty curve? But no, this is the sort of thing I was expecting to see where if I didn't have two ships, I would be a bit concerned. And yeah, this one's, like, you get as much for this one as you get for an entire sector of professional difficulty ships. So this is what I was waiting for. Right. Break formation. Individually target, please. And then you try and outflank it. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. Oh, it's going to be a nightmare now to keep it properly positioned. But there we go. Well, let's not be in quadruple speed for this. Might even want to go slower for this one because it's going to be quite the epic fight, I should imagine. What's this here? Is a targeting thing going on? Have I accidentally targeted that for somebody? Because really, I would like you to target the forward reactor. Yeah, here we go. Please turn to face. There we go. Fielding all the attacks, and you are getting free reign over the back of the ship. Taking a while to break through everything, though. We are starting to have trouble over here. We're out of missiles. We're losing shields. Things are exploding. This is the sort of thing I was expecting. Please do as much damage as you can, Spear. It's taking a while to break through everything. A lot of general damage to everything that you've seen so far. Though it looks like we're about to break through to the reactor. There we go, it's turning away because it knows that that is its weak spot, so it's now pointing all its big cannons at us. You know what then, if you're going to do that, target these reactors right here. Try and blast through, you'll hit that weapon in the process, get rid of it. Let's slow down a bit so we can spend more time with things running but still be able to keep track of what's going on. Here we go. That's more like it. Yeah, that was one where it was able to keep running at full capacity for quite a while in that fight. Oh, don't shoot each other in the back, you guys are terrible. Yeah, for a while it was able to just keep running at pretty much full pelt until we finally managed to, like, tip the balance and suddenly knock out everything at once. So that was a little bit dangerous there. We took some damage. Nearly 7,000 on this guy. Did you take any damage? Any stray shots? You know, you were fine. Which is good, that's the purpose of it. This guy's supposed to be taking the hits, and this guy's supposed to be, being sneaky and doing the flanking. Then again, the shielding on this is superior to, the mace now, really. The mace's, shield stuff is probably a little bit, outdated at this stage. I think it will need an upgrade fairly soon. I mean, that is what we could do now. We have just finished the sector, we're rolling in money, so maybe that's the time for it. So let's take a look. What I'd like to do is add in another 2 shields on the outside here. But that's going to require the entire ship being rearranged, which is a nightmare. So I don't know how exactly I'm going to do this. Another thing that I would like to do is have some outward-facing shields to protect the sides here. But getting that to line up in any reasonable way is difficult. I could put it here, but that would require getting rid of all this stuff. Like, I wouldn't be able to load ammo into the cannon anymore, so I guess that's just out of the question, really. But yeah, another pair of shields on the outside here would be lovely. but difficult to put in. Then again, we could put them back here. That would be a lot more reasonable. It would still get all the coverage we're looking for. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put this here. It's going to mess a couple of things up. We can get rid of this, and then what we'll do is we'll have our ammo storage here. We'll have to move the crew away. That'll be annoying that we won't have crew easily able to get to. Actually, what we could do is move this out a bit. Put this back where it was before. Leave the crew in. Hopefully we will have got back all the cost for that. Yeah, so far the cost is basically nothing. Fill in this armor a bit more, because why not? Bit of armor on the side here as well. Help protect the shield. It means there's not much leeway for our missiles here. We might have a couple of them accidentally smash into the side. Luckily that doesn't cause an explosion, so we'll be okay. It leaves us a little bit lacking again in terms of point defense. We could have some sticking out the side here, but that might have the missiles catching on them, so I guess we'll just try and do without. We've got shields to field the missiles, so I guess that works as well. But yeah, that's pretty good. What did we lose here? Oh, it was literally just the point defense stuff. Oh no, there was a thruster. There was a thruster. We need to do something about that. We no longer have any at the front. And getting that to fit again, I'm not sure how we're going to do it. We could potentially get away with not having thrusters on the side. It would mean that the ship would not be able to strafe, like, at all. Actually, there's another way. What we can do is stick one here. That totally works. Yep, we're doing that. Gets rid of crew again, admittedly, but it will allow us to still be able to fly sideways, which is important and useful. Still got some crew here. It's not the worst. This is still a bit of a mess, but now putting it there totally works. Let's rotate it because I like it facing this way. Then you have a little corridor going into this shield here. Not the best for getting power to it. The nearest power is actually quite a way away. But I think it can deal. Overall, it's a secondary shield, really. This is only going to come into play if all else fails, so hopefully it won't. Another thing we could do, because I was noticing this, that it is actually not that bad to have shields inside the ship, because you can have them really far back and still protecting things. Like, we could have one mounted here. It'd be a little bit too interfering with all the stuff, but it's like, yeah, I could just totally get rid of the middle section here and have a shield. If it wasn't for the fact that we want all these power storage stuff at the front, we totally have the space for it. Maybe on other designs. I mean, it's sort of the tactic we're using on the spear, which is currently hiding off over there. Barely used any money so far. We've only been doing a couple of superficial tweaks, really. We are now needing more power. These extra shields have tipped the balance in that particular respect. Unfortunately. I'm going to move these back to here. And then we've got a bit of room to work with over here, because I'm thinking of getting reactors involved in this somehow. Move these back, move these in. And then a couple of reactors on the side. Perhaps overkill. But I guess that is better than underkill. I don't know. Maybe we should now just have... Oh, we need these on the sides here, because these fuel the entire, like... These fuel the nacelles, or whatever these would be called, the wings. So we don't want to move those at all, really, and take them further away from where they need to be. Yeah, I guess these will work. I'd have one, but how to line it up to make it neat. What else do we need? Crew's okay. I might do something about the control room. I would like to separate... I would like to have two separate ones if I can. Have one really far back somewhere. You know what? Well, I was thinking of having like one in each wing or something like that over there, but that's a recipe for disaster if we lose both wings or something. So I'm thinking I'll just have one at the back here. Just so that if this central section gets blown up, we still have something left. Maybe. I'm not sure. This might be a bit too close now. I will move these. I'll put them somewhere further back. So, like there. It is a danger that we could end up going too far and getting ourselves killed. we'll bulk out the armor back here a bit more and we'll have them here. Dangerous, but if it explodes, it'll be contained. We'll just lose this section here if they manage to breach through the missile pod. And there is the shield in the meantime. And this shield as well now, actually. So that's fairly well defended. Even though there's a lot of open space out here, the shields will block the shots. So I think that'll work. So just to make sure it's protected from the back, we will bulk out the armor a little bit back here. So just to stretch it out a bit. Whoops, something like that. And then... Actually, no, we'll do it like this. We'll have it go out this far. Whoops, don't want to get rid of that. Put that back. Can't do anything about this right now, but we can do something like this. Bit of extra protection. Should serve fairly well. Basically, for them to get the angle to miss this armor, they'd have to miss the angle to get the reactor. Maybe they'd clip that, but that's a lot to get to in a very small window, and so they'll probably have to deal with the armor first. So that should be okay. I think that looks alright. Actually, what we can do is make this a little bit more solid. Like so. That'll probably work there. A lot of mass that is maybe a bit wasteful, but I want to make sure this is safe. It's important that this is safe. More than anything else, really. Then these can go somewhere else. Don't know where else exactly. I'll move these doors to here, and then I'll have these nestled in here. It's a little bit of a mess here. We could put in more crew, maybe. Actually, we're on... Let's jump above the recommended amount. I like to stay well ahead of those sorts of things if I can. Now, doors galore, I think. Just everywhere, really. These are all still lined up nicely. Crew need to be able to get where they're going rapidly. I think that works pretty well. These are all connected as much as we would like them to be. Could be a bit of a mess out here. We've done a lot of rearranging. This still lines up. This will move down. Don't need quite so many doors here either. Let's get rid of that one at least. And the rest looks fairly good. We'll get rid of those because that's just wasteful. Engines are reasonably accessible. We'll add in some more there though. And this stuff all lines up fairly nice. Yeah, we'll go with that. Maybe I've missed some door stuff, but I'm pretty happy with that. And that's not even much of our money, really. So we'll do that, and then we've got a bit left to work on the... Where is it? Work on the spear as well. Let's have a look at this one. So... what can we do here? I mean, we have the idea already of how we're going to expand this thing. So let's start just doing the stuff that we simply couldn't afford before. Add in some large thrusters here. Whoops, I've messed that up. And then just bring out this whole armored section by a little bit. So we'll have, like, basically this is the continuous line, and then there's some inset stuff here. And then it starts to expand out here a little bit. Bring this along here. Have it go back down there. Not much defense at the back here. That's a bit of a danger. I don't know. Seems a bit wasteful to bring the whole ship down a bit to armor that bit. So I think that we'll get away okay with the I don't think we'll get shot through the back there. I think that'll be fine. So we could potentially do more shield stuff at the front. Eventually I'm going to have a second pair of shields running along a second set of shields running along the side here. We can start to implement that if we like. Very power draining, admittedly. It's a little bit crazy, but it'll make this thing blooming invincible. If we just add these in here. The insane amount of shielding on the front. Another thing we can do is bring this stuff out. I've realized that, you know, it doesn't matter, like, how far forward this shield is as long as it's behind this shield line here. So we can actually bring this up to here. Have a bit of room for maybe armor or maybe power if we're feeling a little bit dangerous. So that'd be neat. We'll bring that one up as well. Gives us a lot more room to work with in the back here. And it also means that we can potentially move this out and give ourselves a little bit more space because it's a bit cramped otherwise. Let's put some like armor in the side there for now. So this is our corridor now. We'll move everything out by a little bit. That's looking pretty nice. And then all this can go forward a bit. Basically the same system. Eventually we're going to come up with a proper scalable thing here, where we can just extend it for however many shields we want to have at a particular time. But that's looking pretty good. We'll also have a door there. And we want to have our own power systems inside these arms, really. And they should be safe because of the sheer amount of shielding that we have between them and the enemy. Let's actually bring this stuff back. Oops, that's the delete button, not the move button. We still want this stuff to be inside the shields if we can. Do this here. But yeah, we can actually just armor this if we like. Maybe on the sides. Not quite all the way along. And then a bit of corridor running along here. More armor there. So we can get up to here, then they can move across to either of these. And then... where do we put the reactor? Where do we dare to have it? I'm tempted to do here because... it's not a good idea, though, because the point of these shields is so they have to go through crazy amounts of stuff before you get to these. If we put some reactors in here, then it cuts out all the point of having these reactors far away from the ion beams, because it leaves a massive vulnerability as soon as the shields have failed. We want them to have to go through shields and armor and a bunch of other stuff first, so we'll not put it right there as much as I'm tempted to. We'll move this down, put this here, and then we can have the reactor here. And we'll have some armor on the outside to help defend that particular area. Something like this. Keeps it safe. And it's very easy for you to get to all of the important buildings, structures, or whatever, from here. We don't have to walk miles to get to this thing over here. Then we want power storage somewhere. Power storage is something that we can put here. So that's okay. That'll easily get to this stuff on either side. We'll have the door be a little bit further down. That's looking alright. Still a bit slapdash, needs a bit of rearranging and to work out a proper repeatable system. But overall, that's not bad. At some point we'll be able to start copy-pasting something from here and extend this a couple more layers. Do that there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Insane amounts of shielding. This stuff is amazingly defended. At some point we'll want more weaponry than just like the main beams and some point defense. But for the moment this works. A lot more maneuverability. What we do want to do is let's just do loads at once. Bring out the engines. Plenty more. And that helps to protect this stuff more even. So that works pretty well. Then we'll do this here. And a little bit of a thing here, mainly for decorative purposes really. This is already a massively open space that people could easily shoot at if they're behind us, but hopefully they never will be. Now we need more crew. Housing crew in here is awesome. I'm actually going to move these over to here, switch this to corridor, and we'll have some quarters right here. Armor there. Bit more armor here. Bring this down because we want them to be able to more quickly access this stuff up here, really. Move that to there. Pretty happy with that. We've got the point defense. None at the side still. I've not fixed that yet, but I don't know where to put that, really, so we'll do it later. Not urgent. Power is good. Crew still not perfect. Let's try and get a couple more crew quarters. Also, what I think I'm going to do is actually, instead of just getting rid of that filling with armor, we'll put some crew there because we can. Let's bring this down because it's neater. And then what I'm going to do is double up this to balance out the reduction in power. Then we want 2 more. Do we need more crew quarters? We still do, yeah. Might bring this all back a bit. The neat thing I like to do is have them sort of in tiers. And that lets us have a bit more space here. We can bring these back, put some quarters in here. That gives us enough. No, it doesn't. Why doesn't it? Oh, we're not hiring the crew. It wasn't fully ticked. We're actually massively over what we need. We can do that. We're still fine. which is good because we just went over our funding there, so that works well. I'll even bring this stuff back again. Don't actually need it yet. Still got a bit of money left, not a huge amount though. And I'm pretty happy with all of this. You know what? We could potentially put in the conveyor belts before the end. I would quite like to do that. Have some actual moving walkways here. So how do we want to arrange these? Got to be careful because people have trouble walking across the walkways, so you want to bear that in mind when you're building it. So let's do a bit of moving about with exactly where all the doors are. And then we'll have a walkway up here and down here. Move this, and then we'll have walkway up here, down here. Bit of a problem for these guys here. We'll actually give them a door there and a door there so that they can get to the walkway they want. Not a huge thing to start with, but it helps a little bit. It'll boost people a bit as they try and get up to the front of the ship, or indeed return to the back. And we can have a load of the stuff back here as well. Down on the inside and up on the outside is the system I've started using, so go with that. On here we can have as much as we like, because there's no doors to worry about. In fact, we can do that sort of thing here, really. In fact, I'll move this door back to here. I'll remove this. I didn't mean to remove everything entirely. Looks less neat, but it makes more sense. Oops, I need to put the door back, because of course as soon as I removed the section of the ship, it ceased to be any reason to have a door there. But yeah, we can just put these in everywhere that doesn't have a door leading into it. That should be pretty nice. Oh, there's also a door there, so we want to have just normal corridor here. Looks a bit messy. We can neaten it up a bit by moving this up and this down. The same here. Just get rid of that one. That's alright. There's probably more we can do. But we'll watch how that stuff goes. Now that we built that, we'll see how it fares, and then we'll make more decisions on where to go from here. Gonna move all this stuff around a bit. Bit of a silly system we've got going here. Couple doors in between. That'll be nice. This is all a bit of a mess back here, actually. That'll help. Some doors down here as well. Move these out a bit, and maybe have some doors into here so people can more easily get from the reactors to the bridge. Alright, and we will make that so. So there we go, some pretty big upgrades to both of our ships there. They're both looking a little bit weird. And we did only do one sector today, so even though we're already massively over time, I feel that it's only fair that we have one more set of fights before we finish for today. We can't just jump to one sector in an episode. I mean, there was a lot of building to do because we're suddenly rolling in money. But we're at half speed. I was wondering why it was taking so long for them to power everything up again. There we go. Oh, I forgot to check how the FTL drives are doing. They maybe starting to lose efficiency now. We're adding so much extra mass to the ships. Again, the spear is just terrible. It's literally surrounded by reactors. Well, not quite anymore. Oh, there's some right there. It's a bit silly. Off we go. Exactly 100 to jump. Getting expensive now that we've got so much mass to us. Alright, get in formation, though it shouldn't be so much of a problem now because we have so much more in the way of engines on the spear. Apparently the spear is now the largest ship because it's now taking precedence in terms of the docking. Not the docking, the formations, so that's cool. And I mean, I'm going to ruin it by telling them to spin around. It's going to take forever for them to get there. Break formation. Just go separately, guys. We'll see how you fare in terms of comparative speed now. Okay, now the spear is faster. We've gone a bit. Yeah, we've got more. There's more engines on that one than that one. It makes sense, doesn't it? Mass is about the same. Here we go. The avalanche. Ooh, this one's going for the same sort of tactic as me, having the crazy set of ion beams, but your reactors are straight behind them, so you're doomed. Here we go, getting into range. Oh, seems to be struggling to decide who to shoot at. Here we go, it's facing the mace. Oh, and it's doing a lot of damage. Okay, it has broken through the main shields. But we're about to, there we go, about to destroy the beams. Still though, its remaining ones are gonna be hurting us. Yep, we just lost a shield generator there. But as you can see, the side that is being attacked by the spear is just being annihilated. And that is that. Onwards to the next one. We'll repair on the way. 6,000 in repairs, but we made 60,000 or something to that effect in the fight itself, so that works fine. We'll speed it up for the next guy. And this is the Quicksilver Interceptor. Bit of fanciness going on here. It's got some shields set on the inside. Lots of cannons and beams. Interesting combination, yeah. Crazy ion power and just bristling with cannons. But again, doesn't take much to get to the reactors. Then again, it does have some armor there. It is thinking it through. It's got the armor to catch a lot of your shots as you're trying to break through to there. So, could be a tough one to do. Let's make sure to maneuver nicely. So you... where's a good side to attack from, actually? Because we can just pick what side we attack from when with a spear. Just swing around the back. See if you can slice through from that direction. And the mace, you can just attack from the front and make sure to specifically target the reactors. Just gonna try and break through it from both sides. Whoop, a lot of beams going on here. Ooh, it's actually more interested in fighting the spear. That means the mace is able to batter it from around the side of the shields. Shields are holding up fairly nicely for the spear. It's starting to break through, but there's a lot of shields to get through. And in the meantime, we managed to reach the reactor. I like how the whole thing is still in one piece. It's just there's a big hole in the middle. Oh, it's on fire and all the people are milling about. Good job they can apparently survive in a complete vacuum. That'll help. Right, let us repair. Not too much damage from that one, and onwards to the next one. Now this will be a proper race to see who can get there first at such a distance. That seemed to fairly well match now for speed. Oh, and the enemy is coming to meet us. It is the Reckless Warrior once again. Let's make sure that the spear can attack it from... Let's go with behind. That's a good way to get to the reactor. Yeah, we dwarf this thing. But yeah, there is quite a range of ships to fight in these particulars, in the veteran sectors. As we've seen, there's some much larger stuff. Oh, yep. He's doing a lot of damage. I guess that fits the name. When you're reckless, you're going to do a lot of damage, but possibly at the expense of your own health. Oh, bit of missile stuff going on there. A little bit more repairing to do. That's the thing, when you get to a certain scale of fight, you are always going to take damage. The enemy's always going to breach shields in a certain location, and start to break things behind those. Just a case of making a ship that can take those sorts of hits. Of course, as the ship gets bigger, you'll have more redundancy, so you'll be able to deal with that. The Spartan, hold on a minute. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the professional sectors. You used to give us a massive run for our money and cause us endless trouble, and now suddenly you're in this tier. Has there been an update between episodes or something, or is it just that this one like really walks the line between professional and veteran? It's definitely on the lower end of veteran, though. We can deal with it easily now. Yep, it's through the shields. Shield generators destroyed. Bridge destroyed. One of the reactors. And now it's just a case of waiting until it spins in the right direction to get the other one. And sorted. Sweet revenge. And barely any repair work to do. So there we go. Seems like we're already pretty good at the veteran stuff. I thought we might struggle. I wasn't sure how much we'd jump up in terms of difficulty from one episode to the next, but from one sector to the next. So yeah, I guess we don't need to go through many of these before we start considering the next level up. I don't know what that one's called. But yeah, I'd say probably 2 more veteran sectors, then a big bit of upgrading, and then we'll jump on to the next one. I think that will do us pretty good. And maybe by then we'll have enough money to build ourselves a 3rd ship. Already we're getting towards the vision I had for the spear, as it is. And I'm pretty happy with the mace as it stands. I think with the extra shielding, it can take the hits and will be okay. And I think eventually this will be the main ship and this will be the secondary one, so it'll be okay that occasionally the shields fail a bit, because this one will have infinite shields. We can just keep extending it forwards forever. It'll be wonderful. That'll be more of a proper spear shape, perhaps. Well, more of like some sort of pitchfork style thing, I guess, at the end of the day. I know it'll look like a spear when it's actually firing, of course. No, it'll look like a sword with a massive hilt. That's a thought. Maybe I should have called it that. Then again, I would imagine the sword as being a more short-range thing. But yeah, maybe a third ship, and I would say definitely looking at jumping to the next sectors once we've done a couple more of these. And with that, I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.